on that shot. Had his head out in front of him. That'll tend to make the ball come up heavy on the head pin.
Dropped it.
Still early, but you don't want to give Thomas too many open doors.
You hit this so square that it goes straight back. Second frame, Thomas Wolf. Thomas again from Bismarck. There's that talking to yourself thing again in bowling.
It is. When he did that with his wrist, he kind of hit up on that a little more. He didn't get it out on the lane as well as he'd like to.
On that replay, you could almost see his hand kind of going, and judging by how it hit, he will take what he got. He would gladly have the 8 pins right
That's
there.
what we call a good 8. Could have very easily been a big split.
So 2 fields for Thomas, a strike and a spare, heading into his third. Well, we've talked about this too, Brian, before, where the atmosphere of Midway Lanes right now is so different at this point over any other time in the 2 days.
It is.
It's
We got
just
the
so
2
different.
days full.
Yep.
And the bar, if you look at the TV area up there, it's full. I had somebody just walk out the door not too long ago saying, going home to watch
Going
on
home
TV.
to watch it. That's what we talk about. Happens a lot. 7 pin left there on Wolf in his third frame. But just usually on any given time you walk in here, even on an afternoon, there's a bunch of lanes that are full, and there's so much noise that's associated with this that when you come in now and don't hear it, it's almost a little weird.
It is. You can hear a pin drop.
Well, Wolf trying to get 1 pin to drop, and he did.
Good spare.
Ingles High Sanctioned Series is an 821, carries a 217 league average, and has knocked them all down a few times, has his 300.
And like we said earlier, this season he's been bowling extremely well in tournaments. I know this because the tournaments that I go to, I am not making the cuts, and I see he is.
No chop on this one. Got to all 3 with the ball. He still is kind of battling something. I don't know how you guys make it through a weekend, let alone weekend after weekend after weekend, with the abuse your hands and wrists and legs and hips and everything else takes. Because at home, for an hour and a half or so, you're going to watch bowling. But I mean, you were here at like 4:30 this morning. These guys started bowling at 7:30 this morning. And that's just today, not counting yesterday.
Right, yeah, they bowled 10 games of match play this morning to get to this point, and then the 8 qualifying yesterday. When somebody bowls a lot, you can actually usually look at their right thumb and tell if they bowl a lot. It's a different size than their left one. This is a tough spare. You're right. He's having a problem with the feel of the bowling ball. And when you have a couple opens like that, it just compounds on you, and it makes you start overthinking.
Certainly an opportunity here for Wolf. He likes it for good reason.
That ball was good off his hand. When he let go of it, he kind of stayed there, hung with the shot. You know that he liked it when he let go of it.
Yeah. Again, I equate things to the game of golf. And when you start your backswing you can tell before you come close to the ball that it's like, hey, that went right where I wanted it to. And that was the same case with that last shot for Wolf. It was right how he wanted it to be. Fifth frame, working on a strike.
That one was pretty good, too.
The 10 stays up.
10.
And I think, I guess you could back me up on this, but I always called the 10 pin the most cursed pin in bowling. Is it?
Yeah, for right-handers.
For righties, I mean. Yeah, or the 7 for lefties.
Well, you saw how many pins he threw over there, and it's like, how does one of them not touch it? And it's a relatively easy spare, but you can get the yips sometimes.
He covers.
He would have almost got the 7-10 with that.
So a strike, spare, strike, spare. Right there it is in front of you for Thomas Wolf. 89 count through his fifth.
Ryan needs to kind of...
Yeah, I mean, by no means is he out of it, but
no,
he has to start
he
now.
Because
right?
Thomas has hit the pocket now 3 times in a row. So he's there. It's just a matter of carry.
There's... Yep, the smile. Hey, look it went where I wanted it to.
And a pretty good round of applause.
That hits as good as it gets, right?
It is. That's a textbook strike.
There's Thomas Wolf standing there behind Tristan, and just to Tristan's right, your left is Chad Nelson, who will be up next. And there's Chad taking a really good look at that, or Thomas was taking a really good look at how that ball's reacting. So that's what, there's Chad right in the bottom there. That's what he's doing now, right? Is trying to judge what he sees as a reaction from the lanes.
That'll make a difference what ball he's going to start with and what part of the lane he's going to play.
First time on TV in this event for Ryan.
And it was a battle this weekend. The scores are all really close. That's pretty. He might have got a little softer with that.
In terms of less speed, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So he thinks it's a strike right about there, and then it overhooks or whatever.
Yep, it caught some friction, we call it, where a drier part of the lane and the ball got started earlier than he wanted it to.
But just to follow up on what you were talking about, just kind of how close things were, and I know this is yesterday, which is different than today, but for the 27th spot out of 30, there was a 3-way tie. There
was, 27, 28, 29. And then if you look at the rest Travis ran away with it yesterday. But the rest, when we were announcing that cut line, there was 1 pin, 2, 3, 4. There's usually a gap of 10, even 15. It stayed pretty tight, the whole top 30, or 29.
And that's the fun of the banquet, because when Bryan announces the 30 who make it into today, we start with number 1. Because, like you say, those top guys, they know they're in.
Right.
But when you start to squeeze closer to that 30, you get some interesting reactions to people who think they're in, but maybe not, and then disappointed because they didn't make it and they thought they did. And there's another one that didn't come back.
There's life for Ryan. Yeah, when you get to that number 25 and announce the number, that's when you see everybody looking at their sheets and trying to calculate.
But I think that the razor thin difference, the last replay we had of Thomas where it overhooked at the end, this one didn't have enough on the left side. I mean, that's how. And he didn't miss by much, right?
He did not.
Oh, you got him.
That was a great spare. Yeah, there's not a very big area that you can miss where you're aiming at to still get the strike.
Again, without the first bad shot, you don't get the elation from the good second shot.
Correct. Ryan switched balls here. And then you got the Brooklyn.
Put you on the spot. Any idea how that got named?
I do know.
No.
There is a story. And
There's always a story behind something. Our
heard
number
a couple. I can't seem to remember it.
Brady Stearns just down there in the lower left by Tristan there. He's our number 1 qualifier.
And from Brooklyn to missing the head pin. That's the outside part of the lane that we were talking about earlier. There's so much oil out there that it's hard to get the ball to get started. It's just a line of oil all the way down.
Nope. This is frame number 8 for Thomas Wolf.
That was a pretty good break.
Thomas, father of 5, 13 years apart. His oldest is 20, his youngest is 7. Been bowling for 35 years. Came up through the junior ranks. His highest sanctioned series is an 848.
Which 900 is
the best you can get.
Yep.
Carries a league average of 230. Ninth frame. With a strike for Wolf.
That was a really good shot. Looked like he might have tried to put a little more revolutions on that one after the 5 count in the frame before.
Ninth frame for Engel. He got the strike. Ryan in our first match defeated Jamie Craig 186 to 159.
Yeah, Ryan's going to need a double here for sure. With Thomas, it looks like he's only going to need some count and a spare.
Should put Thomas Wolf in, right?
Yeah, that takes care of it.
His second ball of the 10th frame here for Engel. And he'll throw one more just to finish out. Then Thomas Wolf will finish his 10th, and then Thomas Wolf will get ready for Chad Nelson. Well, this will be the least pressured ball he throws on TV today.
It is.
There it is. And there, it was a good shot. He left the 9, though.
The arm swing loosens up. Yep. The shoulder loosens up when you get to that point.
So Engel with a 158. Wolf already has him closed out with a 161. Now there's an opportunity to look around for Wolf if he wants to try to experiment a little here. He can.
Exactly right.
And he might have done that right there. Yep.
That one looked a lot slower.
Yeah.
Generally, guys will grab a different ball if they don't like the way that one is going down the lane. And it looks like he's going to do that. Grab something else that's probably a little bit cleaner or goes down the lane further before it starts to hook.
That's Chad Nelson there on the right, standing up. Our number 2 qualifier. Wolf will finish out his 10th frame. And And there, he didn't care that he hit a pin. He wanted to see how that ball moved, right?
Exactly.
So it's a 182 for Thomas Wolf to Ryan Ingles, 158. So our second match is in the books, and so far the seeds have held up. Our 3 seed, Thomas Wolf, will take on number 2, Chad Nelson. That's up next, and that's what they're bowling for right here in the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. We'll be right back. And welcome back on your news leader, the 30th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic, presented by McQuaid's Distributing and Lakes Liquor. Our next match is our number 2 qualifier, Chad Nelson, against Thomas Wolf. You just saw Thomas defeat Ryan Ingle. It's a good look at Chad Nelson from Owatonna, Minnesota, our defending champion.
And that looks like we're watching a rerun from last year.
That's his practice ball. He wishes he could count it. If there's one thing from the last couple of years of just watching Chad, I mean, obviously, anything you do, if you minimize your mistakes, you're going to be better at it. And he just doesn't make very many glaring mistakes, does he?
He does not. I mean, every shot is smooth. Same thing every time. And his experience is by far the most in the field, partly because of age. But he's...
And Thomas will start us here. This is frame number 1. Our second to last match here in the stepladder finals. Thomas Wolf. Strike 1.
He didn't change balls. He went back to the one he's been using. But...
And Chad Nelson. You talk about experience. He's from Minnesota. We mentioned Owatonna. He's got 20 state championships in Minnesota. High roller megabucks champion. Bowled in the PBA Masters a few years back and finished 6th. And that's a huge tournament.
Huge tournament. That's against the top PBA players. And then the Central Bowlers Alliance, that's the Minnesota little tour that it's not little, it's a tour they have out there, and 40 of those is an accomplishment on its own.
And a strike to start it for Chad Nelson. Chad's highest sanctioned series, 858. Solid.
That's the look of determination right there.
His starting point, it seemed like, was a little further to the left.
He is. He's quite a ways left. The shot on 31, he didn't quite hook it as much.
There's the ball that Thomas experimented with in the 10th frame. He's going to throw it here on lane 32. That's why he changed.
It is. 2 different balls on each lane, so that tells me Thomas has one lane hooking more than the other.
Too much hook on that one. Looking for his 3rd straight strike to get things started, but it didn't happen here for Wolf.
Yeah, he kind of rolled his hand around that one when you watch that replay. Make the spare.
How different would the game of bowling be today? And I know some people still do this. If you were like forced to use the same ball for every shot,
it would be a lot different. Because you're using one ball, you need to just make a bunch of adjustments throughout the night, rather than if one ball quits working, you just grab another one, stay in the same part of the lane, and move on with the day.
Nelson looking for a turkey to get things rolling. Nope, 9 count. Are there? I'm assuming somewhere there have to be events that some places have fun tournaments or whatever like that, or do they exist where you can only use one ball?
There is. There's Brad Peterson up in Williston that bought the bowling center from me. February 25th has a 1-ball tournament. So when you're warming up practice, you pick the ball that you're going to use, and that's what you use for the whole tournament.
And he covers his first spare. So is that like fun to watch, the frustration from guys and gals trying to do that? It sounds to me like it'd be a blast.
It's a good tournament. It's fun. People take different approaches. Some think the lanes are going to dry up, so they grab a bowl that doesn't hook as much. Some grab more aggressive stuff. It makes the lanes change quite drastic, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Just 1 pin separating these two right now.
That ball actually hit the lane and started hooking right away. I don't know if we can see it on the replay. Right behind him, you can see it a little bit better.
Brady Stearns in the off on lane 17, still warming up and getting ready. He's our top qualifier. We'll take on the winner of this match for the championship. 2 strikes, 2 spares for Nelson to get things started. Because it's quite a drive for Chad to get back to Owatonna, and he was talking about how he likes about the format of this tournament and the timing of this tournament being that we're at 12:30. He can get home at somewhat reasonable time to get to work tomorrow.
Sure, instead of 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. Thomas thought he had it.
And pins flying all around. Didn't touch the 9.
So these two guys on a familiar, or similar, I guess I should say, pace here, assuming Thomas covers this spare. 2 strikes and 2 spares to get things started.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I was nervous for him.
I think about halfway down, Thomas thought he missed it.
Yeah, that's because there's that line of oil, and just right there is where I thought he was going to miss.
Because you don't intentionally practice in case there's a split, right?
Right. He was 2 inches from going in the gutter there.
There, and I don't remember what year it is. I'm just going to say it was decades ago. I remember watching a PBA tour event. Mark Roth, back when Mark Roth was dominating everything. Last ball, 10th frame, all he had to do was knock one pin over. And you remember how he used to throw it so wide and bring it back and pins would explode? He channeled it and lost.
Yeah, that's a tough one there when you just got to keep it on the lane.
I mean, if he throws it straight, he knocks down one. But he threw his same thing, that big old swing, and it didn't come back, and it stayed out there, and he lost.
There were a couple guys today that just needed to keep it on the lane on their match play, and they threw it right down the middle.
So both guys looking for a strike again here.
Regroup and get something started. That part of the lane seems to be
so explain
going away.
Going away. It's hooking earlier because of why?
Well, they're playing in that same general area, so when you keep throwing a ball in the same part of the lane over and over, it takes the oil away, and when the oil is gone, the bowling ball sees that or reads it, and it starts hooking.
And he chopped it.
That's very uncharacteristic. But if you notice with Chad, when he does things like that, he doesn't get mad. You barely see a change in his demeanor. He just rolls it over and starts the next frame over.
Such a look of determination.
He was doing calculations in his head. He made the move there. That's how fine the line is. He probably only moved a couple boards.
Okay. I was going to say, when you talked about the oil pattern moving a little bit. So is that, you can see there when you talk about a board, the width of each one of those boards, literally. So how big or small? So not how wide the board is, but how wide is the miss? Was it half a board he's missing?
No, he might be about a board there. But by only moving that much, he caught a board that had oil on it, and the ball didn't. That's what I meant.
Yep, so you're talking about a spot an inch away, 3/4 of the way down the lane.
Right.
Interesting match, though, between these two guys. Again, the difference between a head-to-head step ladder is you just need one more pin than the next guy. It's not like you're trying to rack up your total pins for the day, so head-to-head.
Right, and then in match play, you get the 30 bonus for a win. Here it's...
You move on. There's Wolf finding that spot he likes so much right there in the pocket.
If he can find the same spot on 31,
So it looked like Thomas made a move to his left as well with his feet, correct?
He did.
Yep.
On 32.
Yep.
31 seems to be the tricky lane, where Thomas had the 5 count the game before. Now he's trying to find a line.
Working off that strike in the 6th. This is frame number 7, 116 pins behind his name to this point. Tried to work its way back in there. Got 9 of them.
You can see him start to get frustrated there because that was a really good shot. The ball, they just don't know where to throw it to get it to read the lane.
Missed it. You could hear him faintly say, "Oh, Thomas," as soon as it left his hand.
You did.
Well, that certainly helps Chad when you look back at his fifth frame of chopping the one and leaving the open.
It does. And the single pins, when they're in the middle of the lane, we get pretty upset with ourselves. So those are 90% plus makeable spare.
Yeah. No, he didn't. The 7 stayed. I thought he hit it so well. I made an assumption, and
It was wiggling.
yeah, I thought it was going over. Yeah, that single pin, just to go back to Thomas's last frame. I mean, that's, again, I'll try to equate it to golf. It's like missing a 2-foot putt, right?
Right.
Yeah.
On our standard, league shot, it's like missing a 2-inch putt.
Oh.
On this, they get a little more because the pattern's a lot tougher.
Cross for the 7, and he converts it.
Still a tight match, 1 pin difference for max score.
Yeah, we're certainly into that anything could happen part of this match, because it certainly could.
It is. We're far from over.
8th frame.
He made a really substantial move there. He went quite a ways further left. Like a completely different part of the lane.
Caught the sleeper.
That's a good spare. When you see him throw his hands up, that one, no matter what you do, until they're all down, you're not.
You sweat it, huh?
Yep. You got that sleeper back there, and there's a 6-pin hanging out.
Brady Stearns will take on the winner of this match for the championship. Thomas Wolf hopes to be in it. And he hoping for a strike right here. No.
That's pretty frustrating. Keeps the match interesting for us, though.
Which is the last thing that Wolf wants right now, right?
You are right.
No, he did it. Oh, no, he caught it. I just judging up by his reaction, I think he thought he missed it again.
I'm watching. I'm almost identical. That's flirting with the edge there.
Again, about 3/4 of the way down, I stopped watching the ball, and I was just looking at Wolf, and I think he thought he missed it.
He didn't yell, "Oh, Thomas."
Yeah,
so
not
we
that
knew he
time.
had a chance.
Yep. So you're saying I got a chance. Ninth frame. He would love a strike right here. And he got it.
Chad's going to need to do the same thing
Yeah, I
here.
was going to say that last strike by Wolf does put a little pressure on this shot, doesn't it?
It does. The ninth frame is one of the most important frames.
And he got it.
The break, tripped the 4.
Not a beauty contest. They just have to fall over, right?
I was just going to say that. At this point, he don't care as long as it went down.
The head pin comes off the left board and kind of kept everything possible, didn't it?
Yep. And when that 4-pin trips forward here, makes for a good day.
So both guys load up the 10th with a strike in the 9th. Anybody's match.
High flush in the pocket. Fortunate to leave only the 4 there with the 9 was standing. When you come in at that angle and you're really high on the head pin, you have a pretty good risk of leaving the 4-9 right there.
But also interesting, too, that Nelson decided that he wanted to finish first. And so Wolf now, after one more throw, will know what he has to do.
Correct.
The strike will give Chad a 190.
Yes. And then Thomas needs...
And 189.
Thomas needs a spare.
Needs to fill here, huh? Working with a strike in the 9th, a 164 count to this point. So this is the 10th frame for Thomas Wolf. Nailed it.
I'm going to take care of it.
So we will not have back-to-back champions.
We will not. I'm thinking Brady Stearns is ready to try to come in and do it again.
Brady won this tournament 2 years ago. Finished second last year. Second ball, 10th frame for Wolf. Knocks it down, he'll have a 203. So we'll have Thomas Wolf against Brady Stearns for the championship. And it is a 203 to a 189. Thomas Wolf defeats Chad Nelson, setting up our championship match here of the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic, and that is up next. welcome back to Midway Lanes in Mandan. We're up to the championship match of the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. That guy right there you're looking at is Brady Stearns. He's from St. Augusta, Minnesota. He won this event 2 years ago. He was in the championship match, but was defeated by Chad Nelson last year, and he is our number one qualifier today. So he is in that locked-in position, but he hasn't rolled for a while now, though.
He hasn't, other than a few warm-up shots down on the other end. That shot right there is typical of what we've seen out of Brady all day today.
And you will see, when you see Brady throw, his approach to where he places the ball in the lane will be different than what we've seen so far today on TV, right?
Almost complete opposite, yes. He's the only one that's been out there.
And we'll talk more about it. It'll be a dramatic
switch.
Yeah, you'll know what we're talking about when you see it, and then we'll talk more about it. But Thomas Wolf will get it started.
See if he can find a way to get all 10 on this one, or this lane.
Wolf played for the title back in 2019 when he finished second to Matt Smallin. That was not the strike he was looking for.
And again, that was a good shot. It looks the same as lane 32. The ball just gets to the pocket there and stops. Quits hooking.
So he's throwing this ball for his spares too. That hooks more than the straight at him approach, right?
Yeah, Thomas throws reactive. He just flattens his hand and throws it hard.
So a spare in the first, and here's our first look again at Brady Stearns for his first frame.
We're going to go through his routine, scrape the shoe.
Yeah. Stearns and Nelson, our top two qualifiers here, and the same two guys that bowled in for the title last year, they are in a lot of big tournaments together. They go around the region a lot.
Around the country,
yeah.
A lot. I'm betting Brady's going to have to buy dinner tonight, though.
He's going to have a bigger check. See how, now watch, this is what we're talking about. See how far out before he brings it back he is?
He's right on the one board.
All right, try to explain a little bit of the why this approach is working for him today.
Well, for starters, it's Brady Stearns. He's so methodical. He throws it the same every single time. When you watch him come off the approach, he does the same thing. Scrapes his shoe with the brush, set up, takes his time, doesn't throw it till he's ready, and repeats shots.
Two strikes to start.
And does that. So where he's at, I mean, if he misses even a half inch to the right, that ball's going to go in the gutter.
And he's out there where not many have, and so I guess explain the oil pattern. So it's not as broken down or doesn't change as dramatically. Is that accurate?
That is. Plus, well, he's using a urethane ball, which is a lot less aggressive, which he makes it still hooks a lot for him.
Split here for Wolf.
He creates that for the other players when he does that, because that urethane carries some oil down. And as Brady continues to bowl, like 32 was Thomas's good lane. He's been striking and coming up flush. Now the ball doesn't quite make it back to the pocket, and that's from the urethane ball instead of reactive going down the lane.
Let's see if he can get it.
Nope. Hard.
So an open off the split in frame number 2 for Thomas Wolf. And you see there Stearns with a couple of strikes to get things started.
Where today you've seen guys go to their bowling bags multiple times to grab different balls to get a different reaction, Brady just stayed in that and went about his day.
Ooh. Well, from where the ball entered the pocket, I didn't see that coming.
No, that's the 7-10. He made a good adjustment, made a good shot. The ball there still didn't drive through the pins hard enough to kick that 7 or 10 out. If you saw the pins kind of just fly straight back.
Trying to get that 7 to bounce off the sideboard to come back across, right?
That's exactly what he was doing. That ball was whipping.
And what Stearns has done all weekend long too is when faced with a chance like this to put pressure on, he's done it.
He has, over and over.
Aha! Not this time. This appears to be a very tricky spare.
Yeah, this one's really tricky. A 2-8-10. Not usually made. I would think he's just going to go for 2 to get the count and then jump over to the next lane. Even if Brady is upset or doesn't know anything, you never see it with him.
Take the 2 and move on.
Mm-hmm.
So both guys, though, open in the third frame. But you see the 20-pin advantage for the 2 strikes that Stearns has.
Between Chad and Brady, I've talked to a few guys this weekend, and when they beat you, they do it so gracefully that you're not even mad at them. Plus, we're kind of used to it.
Little back, but he got away with it.
Break. That's making me wonder a little. I haven't seen his ball go Brooklyn all day. I don't know if he did something different with his hand or if there's finally getting to be a spot out there that the ball's going to start hooking early.
Here's Thomas Wolf in the 4th. Now the pocket has become a little elusive here for Thomas. Covers it.
Great spare.
Okay, now we're going to need a re-rack coming, right?
He's doing this.
On the left.
Yeah, the 7-pin fell over for some reason. That was close to chopping.
And here's the re-rack on lane 31. Well, not that you would ever say you don't need a strike.
You were reading
Thomas
my mind.
can use one.
Good shot. The ball, if you notice, it kind of got lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It caught that spot down right in front of the head pin and stopped driving. We call that a flat 10 when the 6 goes in the gutter and kind of just wiggles. He throws it hard at the spares usually. I thought that one might be a little harder.
There over Stearns' head, you can see where the past champions and their years are on there. It's one of the things that Midway Lanes has always done. I think is pretty cool for this tournament is when you win one, you're up there forever.
You are.
And Stearns is up there for his win in 2022. That year, if you recall, he defeated Randy Peterson.
We got one for everybody. We got a few more lanes to go. Then we'll have to start hanging them in the middle of the masking units.
Started with 2 strikes, an open, 2 strikes, and then a third.
That's one thing he does so well. You see 2 shots that looked like he was lost, and now he comes back and flushes 2 of them right in the pocket. And those are textbook when you see those pins going down.
Sixth frame for Wolf. And there's 2 of them up there, isn't there?
Yep. That 8-count sleeper there. He lofted that one a little bit more, but he's starting to get frustrated now.
Yeah. I was just thinking of Chris Stapleton has a song, the popular song with the lyric in it that says there's nobody to blame but me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's written about bowling, but it probably could be.
It could, right there. That's missed spares a little bit shocking. It hooked pretty hard.
Which I actually have tickets for a Chris Stapleton concert later this year, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't seen him yet.
I bet that will be a good one. Changing balls here.
Oh, there you go. There's he was looking for one and he got a break.
Went from a split to glory. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you feel it's like, yeah, there you go. You feel good for someone who gets a break like that when he hasn't had a lot of those in this match.
No, he's had some. Well, today too, he's had some 9 pins and 8 pin. He needed that one right there.
Brady Stearns looking for his 4th in a row. And it's his 6th of this match. But you are right. Brady's, and Chad Nelson's the same way, but Brady is that kind of that, aw shucks, sorry I just stepped on your throat kind of guy.
He is. And he does it well. But they're both really good, down-to-earth guys who happen to be extremely talented at this sport.
Of all the years that, Jim Mellon sat where you're at now, and we talk about players or see players, and Jim would often say things like, this is a guy that if he wanted to could go bowl on the PBA tour because he has that type of game. We're looking right there at a guy, right, that 100%. Has that. Yeah.
Well, he's been out and he bowls with them at the events that he goes to and PBA regionals.
So after 4 strikes in a row, that's a 9 count. That was the 8th frame for Brady Stearns. Brady trying to put his name on the short list of multiple-time champions of this event.
He's 2 frames away from it. Thomas has no options here. But to do that.
Needs those. And anything but those. And that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yep, not looking good then.
There's another strike. We have the big check, the check you take to the banks, a couple of some trophies to hand out. We'll talk to the final 5. All that's coming up as well, right here on your news leader. 9th frame, though, for Brady Stearns. Boards and in the pocket.
That's going to take care of it.
So Brady Stearns is your champion here in the 38th annual. He'll finish out his 10th frame and post his number. He rolled a 215 the year he beat Randy Peterson. He'll be higher than that here, right?
Yes. Well, should be if he opens. Thomas giving a little grief there.
Yeah, so Stearns up to 212. He'll try to cover the 10 and get one more ball left here in the 10th frame.
Like we mentioned, Brady's been in this position a lot, so anybody that's coming in to face him knows kind of what you're going to have to do.
They shake hands, knowing that the winner has been determined. Again, we're just working on what the final number is going to be, but Brady Stearns, his final number will be 2,000.
It will.
As in $2,000 he's going to get here in a few minutes. 224. We have one more ball for Thomas to throw, and before she's official. $189. 224 to a 189. Congratulations to Brady Stearns. He is the champion of the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. We'll talk to the guys and hand out the hardware when we come back. You got the checks? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want you out. Yep.
We're going to write his name on there. Do we have time?
Probably not.
Okay.
Still after. Say again. 30. Okay. Mike, test. Hello, Houston.
Are we just doing Brady? Or
No, we'll go through the 5. If they want their money, they'll come out and get it.
right.
You're first up, Jamie, here in a little bit.
Should have looked at the captain.
Oh, it's got it. And welcome back to Midway Lanes. Brady Stern's name will be going on that check in just a few minutes. But first, Brian, we have some real checks to hand some out. And let's bring in Jamie. Jamie, come on in. Jamie Craig finishes in 5th place this year. He'll take $725 back with him to Minot. Jamie, come on over to this side. Brian will hand you the check, and we'll ask you how your week went.
Shot 2 140s, one each day. Thanks to Thomas Wolf on Saturday. He lined me up after shooting 140, and I went like plus 200 after that to barely squeak in the cut. Shot 140 out the gates today, and then just went on a tear and ended up plus 160. So it was a grind, but we got her done.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie. Welcome to the TV today.
Thank you.
Jamie Craig from Minot. Ryan Engel from Bismarck. He's the one that defeated Jamie in our first match here on TV. Ryan, we'll have a check here for $850. Same question to you, Ryan. How'd the week go?
It was great. So yesterday did pretty well, and then today I did great until I got to step ladders, but that's okay. I had fun. And I especially want to thank all the sponsors that put this on, the Lord, my wife who sits through all this, my family and parents, and especially thank you guys. Without you guys, we couldn't do this, so I appreciate it so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Making the TV show for the first time, too, Ryan Engel. Chad, come on in. Chad Nelson. We'll take a $1,000 check back with him to Owatonna, Minnesota. We were talking to you the last time last year because Chad is won this tournament, and he came close to making it back-to-back, but not quite, but that's the way it goes, right?
Yeah, that's the way it is. Win some, lose some. So could be better. Could have been a lot worse. Couldn't be bowling on Sunday, too.
That's true. You were saying, though, that you and Brady travel a lot together, and before we came onto the TV, you were saying that you were already stuck having to drive. Tell us why.
Well, I started really good today, and I think I had a 200-pin lead on him, and I told him the stepladder didn't count, but whoever was low man before the stepladder had to drive home, and he beat me pretty easy. So I'm driving.
So Chad's driving, at least to St. Cloud anyway, right?
Yep, then I have to get the rest of the way home.
All right. Thank you very much, Chad.
Thanks,
our
guys.
champion
Thanks.
from last year, finishing in 3rd place this year. Thomas Wolf. Thomas is from Bismarck. Thomas's check will be for $1,400, and we also have a runner-up trophy for you. And unfortunately for you, Thomas, it's the second time you have to take that runner-up. I know you want to finish first, but second's better than third, right?
Yeah, that's true. And, last time I had to bowl small and I got the best small and Brady's no slouch. I mean, he's probably one of the best players in the Midwest. So to be here and have the chance, just made the wrong ball choice right away. Maybe it would have been different. But hats off to him. He's a great champion, great bowler. So thanks to everybody at Midway Lanes, too, for everything this weekend. Everything ran pretty well. So
that's what I was going to ask you. What's that inner battle when you were looking at a ball in your hand that's not doing what you want it to? You probably have 6 other ones with you in the house. How do you battle through with what to try to do and go from there?
A little bit of trial and error, but when Brady's got the look on the gutter, good luck. You're not going to beat him unless you're playing out there with him. So fortunately, I'm not very good at doing that like he is, so I'll play to my strengths, which was way left like I did. So is what it is, and we'll try it again next year.
All right, thanks. We'll see him, Thomas, in here next year. Thank you, Thomas Wolf, our runner-up this year, and a guy who was in this same position, I guess in the last match now for 3 years in a row. Come on in, Brady. 2 years ago, we were handing you the champion's check for $2,000. You'll have your name on that one and the championship trophy your way. But Brady Stearns once again reigns supreme here this year. I believe, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I'm thinking you're starting to like how things are playing out here at Midway Lanes.
I definitely like coming up here for sure. Track record's been pretty good. The place is beautiful. Everything runs great. We couldn't have a better tournament. So we're just lucky that the sponsors everybody that puts on, Bryan. I mean, it's such a great tournament. I mean, it fills every single year, and it does for a reason. It's a great tournament.
How were you able to find success out wide compared to most everybody else who didn't choose that path this weekend?
Well, yesterday I wasn't anywhere near there. Yesterday I was further left like everybody else. So today, I mean, typically I was throwing a pitch black, a urethane ball, so the gutter's pretty good here. Scores are going to be low, so making your spares is pretty much what mattered today. So, I mean, if I could find a way to kind of stay away from everyone else and just find a way to get 9 and make your spares and hopefully catch a couple good games, I mean, that was just the only strategy I had.
Okay. Bryan, what's your reaction to what Brady did this weekend?
What Brady usually does. When he was throwing urethane right away this morning, I had a pretty bold prediction that he was going to take home the trophy today. Once we got to the stepladder, then it was even more.
Well, he's going to take home the trophy. He's going to take home that big check. Why don't you go grab that thing? We'll present it to Brady Stearns here. Your second one. Yes, his second one. Congratulations again to Brady Stearns. Brady is your champion of the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. Congratulations, Brady Stearns. Thank you, sir. And Bryan, before we sign off, final thoughts?
That was a great tournament. Like Brady said, we fill every year. We want to thank KFYR for starters for helping with this event. Without you, it wouldn't happen. McQuaid's distributing. All the staff here. I don't do much. I just walk around and act like I'm working. Everybody else is what makes this thing run well.
And it does run well. And next year, we'll run it for year number 39. Thank you very much to Bryan and everyone here at Midway Lanes. So on behalf of all of us at KFYR-TV, thank you so much for watching the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. And one more congratulations to our champion, Brady Stearns.
Thank you for watching the 38th annual KFYR-TV Budweiser Bowling Classic. Sponsored by McQuaid Distributing, Licks Liquor, and your news leader.